Hi, I'm Paula from Atmajaya DL TBS student. I'm going to talk about students' attitudes toward languages. Now let's start with the background. As an archipelagic country, Indonesia has over 13,000 islands, it has many distinct ethnic groups, and it has more than 700 vernacular languages, so it needs a language that unites the nation, and that unifying language is the Indonesian language. As for the English language, in Indonesia, it has status as a foreign language that is taught in school classrooms and one of the subjects in the school curriculum. So, based on the Indonesian linguistic background described above, Indonesian people who can speak English are supposed to be bilingual or even multilingual. They should at least be able to speak 3 languages that are Indonesian, English, and at least 1 regional language. Unfortunately, fewer and fewer Indonesian people can speak their regional languages. Most of their mother tongues or ethnic languages have been shifted into Indonesian, especially when children start school. It is because the students come from multilingual background, thus the medium of instruction in schools should be the unifying language, that is, the Indonesian language. As also stated by Hammers and Blank 2000, school language influence more than the mother tongue. So the objective of this study are to investigate students' attitudes toward languages, regional languages, Indonesian and English, and how they value each of the languages and why. This study is expected to bring students awareness of the richness of the Indonesian culture so that they would not ignore their identity due to globalization. Now let's move on to the literature review about language attitudes. So, what is an attitude? According to Smith 1971, an attitude is a relatively enduring organization of beliefs around an object or a situation, predisposing one to respond in some preferential manner. As for Baker 2001, an attitude is a mental phenomenon that cannot be examined nor observed directly, but can be manifested in the form of action. As for language attitudes, according to Moreno Fernandez 2000, language attitudes are a reflection of psychosocial attitudes about languages that convey the social, cultural, and sentimental values of the speakers. Therefore, they are to be valued and evaluated according to the status or social characteristics of the users. However, a positive attitude toward a language alone is not sufficient to maintain a language. According to Kastan et al. 2018, attitudes toward languages, be they positive or negative, indicated a weak effect on the success of bilingualism. Language attitudes interact with macro and micro sociolinguistic variables. According to Choi 2003, positive attitudes toward languages are not always congruent with the languages used. The methodology of this study involved 22 participants from 3 universities in Jakarta, and the instruments used are questionnaire and interview. So now let's move on to the findings and discussion. The demographic data revealed that participants come from various ethnic backgrounds: Javanese, Bataknese, Sundanese, Floresnese, Torajanese, and Niasnese. All participants have a positive attitude toward the regional languages and they all agree that regional languages are essential to their cultural identity, and they also believe that regional languages should be preserved. All participants also agree that the Indonesian language is essential for broader communication. All participants also acknowledge that English is an international language, so that English is important. However, 85% participants prefer to speak Indonesian over the regional languages. When expressing their feelings, most participants prefer to use Indonesian or English rather than the regional languages. One of the participants who prefer to use English says that the English language is considered more comfortable because there is no difference for language users to talk to based on their interlocutor's level. For example, in English, the pronoun you can be referred to anyone regardless of their age or status. In Indonesian, we have to differentiate between kamu, which means you, and Anda, which also means you, depending on whom we talk to. To our parents, we cannot say kamu nor Anda, but we have to call them father or mother, daddy or mommy, and the like. Although 100% view that regional languages are significant for their cultural identity, less than 30% of participants use the regional languages in their family environment. So it means that positive attitudes toward the regional languages are not congruent with the languages used. This is in line with what has been stated in Choi's 2003 study that linguistic attitude is not always reflected by linguistic behavior. According to Choi, positive attitudes toward a language should increase its use, and therefore it results in the maintenance of that language. The incongruence of a positive attitude toward a heritage language and its usage may be because of a lack of exposure to the language. As revealed by a Javanese participant who can speak English, French, and Hindi because his father was once stationed in some foreign countries, he cannot speak Javanese because of lacking exposure of Javanese. As he said, My parents never speak Javanese to me. I don't have friends who can speak Javanese, and I don't have information in Javanese, and I'm not required to talk in Javanese either. He means that most resources of information on Google is in English instead of in regional languages such as Java. So this is in line with what has been stated by Kastan et al. 2018 that a positive attitude toward a language alone is not sufficient. There are other macro and micro variables involved. So to conclude, all participants perceive that ethnic languages are significant for identity. The Indonesian language as the unifying national language is the most frequently used. Lack exposure of mother tongue is one of the factors that students don't use in their daily life. To maintain the languages they have acquired, the habit of reading, listening, and speaking should be done to maintain the languages they have acquired. For future research, parents' attitude toward the regional languages should be investigated, and whether they would like to pass on the regional languages to their children. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you for your kind attention. Questions are welcome. And these are the references that I use. Thank you again for your kind attention. Bye.